Christianic Sea Wine Review covering Las Vegas and the world. If you have not already, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel to keep up with everything we have going on here in Las Vegas and beyond. Hit that subscribe button below and subscribe to the Sea Wine Review YouTube channel. We thank you for your support, and if you're coming back to watch another video, thanks for watching. Again, always appreciate you. Anybody who watches these videos, thank you so much. We are here in Las Vegas, and we appreciate every second that you watch these videos. So I wanted to talk about this today because I thought this would be a really fun topic to weigh in on based on my own experiences. And I just have to tell you, again, it's so much fun to always watch these media stories and social media posts and social media weigh-ins where people love to talk about things that they've never experienced in their own life. And I'm going to guess that the majority of people who gave Tiffany Haddish a hard time about her grocery store video recently on social media where she was in Zimbabwe. I'm guessing that most people who either wrote articles or weighed in on comments have never been to the continent, let alone Zimbabwe. And I will start with this. One, there's a lot of preconceived notions in the world, and Tiffany Haddish, I guess, had never been to Africa before then, and maybe she got the, what I like to call it, generalizations about the continent by living in another part of the world and never going to Africa or never being in touch with Africa or never knowing anybody in Africa. And it's possible that all those things are absolutely true, but you also have to remember one thing, that Tiffany Haddish is a comedian and an entertainer. But here's the reality of what it comes down to. So she went to Zimbabwe and she took this video of her walking around in this grocery store and was basically trying to tell people about how nice the grocery store was in comparison to something that you might see in the first world, the United States of America. And I have to tell you, more than anything else, people giving her a hard time for her view. How would she know if she had never been there before? So in reality, she was using that video to educate people who were ignorant about the continent itself and how maybe some of the infrastructure is in the continent of Africa. So in reality, she was using her video to kind of make people laugh, but she was also trying to educate them at the same time. Now, after she got some backlash from this, she came out and said that she invited friends to travel with her to Africa. They were all scared and did not want to go with her. So what does that say in that regard? So here's what I'm going to start with and say to you. So as someone who has been to both the country of Kenya a couple of times and the country of Mauritius, both countries are Africa. They're part of Africa. They're part of the continent. One's on the mainland, one's in the Indian Ocean, but still considered part of the continent is Mauritius. What I would say to you more than anything else is the following. It depends where you go in Africa, much like it depends where you go in Africa, America, Africa. There are certain places you don't want to go, and there are certain places that are perfectly fine. And that's the same thing everywhere. So, and I can say that being in Kenya, Mombasa has some of the nicest grocery stores that I've ever been in. Some of the nicest grocery stores in Mauritius I saw when I was there in that country. They're nicer than some of the countries that are in America. Some of the grocery stores in America, excuse me. They're nicer than some of the grocery stores in America. So what I would say to you more than anything else is that if you've never been somewhere, how would you know? So she had never been somewhere and she had heard a bunch of, again, negative generalizations about the continent. So then she goes to Zimbabwe and she's like, wow, look at this. Look at these grocery stores. Look at this grocery store. You know, it's as nice, if not nicer than something in America. And the reality of what it comes down to is that that's someone trying to educate other people who have those same negative preconceived notions that she had before she ended up going there. So, you know, maybe we should stop just trying to make controversy of every little thing that goes on in life, right? Maybe we should just start trying to, you know, open our mind up a little bit. And here's the question. How many of you are going to end up going to Africa in your own life? And probably most of you who won't, either you can't afford it, which I completely understand. You're not interested, which I completely understand. But for those of you who would probably consider going, maybe some of you are so scared because you think you're going to be kidnapped or you're going to be mugged, which, by the way, that stuff can happen in America. So the thing is that what it comes down to is if you want to really travel to Africa, I recommend one thing. Making friends with someone there or a family who's there, getting a tour guide, really getting in touch with one of the locals there who knows the lay of the land before you go. And that's what I ended up doing, on my trips to Kenya. I knew somebody there before I went. And that was very helpful, of course. So, and of course I did my research about the country and asked my questions beforehand. And you just don't have a naive attitude and end up going somewhere where you don't know where you're going. Obviously you do a bunch of research, but the odds of you being kidnapped, if you're in a decent part of any place in the world, are not likely. If you keep an eye out, if you don't go out late at night, if you don't, get drunk or do drugs and, put yourself under an influence where you can't make proper judgment, well, then that's going to be a problem. But if you're somebody who doesn't do those things and you're always aware of your surroundings, you'll probably more likely than be fine, is the reality of what it comes down to. So, but I had the reality is that people have jobs, they have college degrees, they live in homes with electricity, water, and internet, and all kinds of things in the continent of Africa. And, the reality is that if you think that just all the people live in huts there, no. You are so wrong. You are so ignorant. Go educate yourself. By the way, there's probably I'm sure there's a good couple of dozen, if not a couple hundred videos of people shopping in grocery stores in Africa right on YouTube, which you can go switch over to after you finish up this video here on CY Interview. So what I'm going to say to you is the following. Tiffany Haddish was trying to educate people in a funny way. She had preconceived notions about Africa, and when she was in Zimbabwe was kind of surprised. Well, she was fed a bunch of ignorant information living in the first world. That happens to people sometimes. The internet loves you to fear about things and give you fear so you don't go explore the world and see things. And so, but the point is that there's a lot of preconceived notions about Las Vegas now as we talk about that. And people who've never been here think that this is just a place where people get drunk, get high, they gamble, and maybe they partake in some kind of adult entertainment or something. But the reality is Las Vegas is more than that. Some of the greatest and biggest and most luxurious resorts in the world, the most live entertainment you're ever going to find any night of the week, 365 days a year, shopping, some of the greatest cuisine in the world, some of the greatest tours in the world to the Grand Canyon and the such. There is nothing that you can't do in Las Vegas that anyone wouldn't dream to do on a vacation anywhere else. There are just so many things to do. The nightclubs, the pool clubs. I mean, I could just go on and on and on. There is more than just smoking cigarettes, smoking marijuana, drinking alcohol, and gambling in the entertainment capital of the world. There are so many things going on here. So, whether you're in Zimbabwe, you're in Kenya, you're in Mauritius, or you're in Las Vegas, if you've never been here before, you have preconceived notions by some of the, content or information you've been fed online, and it's a possibility that information is not true at all. The point is that when you're traveling to other countries, just have a tour guide, have someone on the ground if you can make that relationship, and just be aware of your surroundings and don't get under the influence of something. Don't get drunk, in places, and nothing's going to happen most likely as long as you know the areas and you can do information. There's so much research about these cities and what the things to expect. And then there are people who do YouTube videos who go around all these cities around the world that you can also watch and get experiences from. So I'm just going to say to you in this regard, Tiffany Haddish did not deserve the backlash that she got. She was trying to educate people in a funny way. It was not in a way that she was trying to be ignorant. She was trying to say, look at this. I've learned something today. And by showing the video to you, hopefully you learn something too. That, there's some very nice grocery stores among so many other nice things in Kenya, Mauritius. Those are the places I've been. So, though, again, I think some of those grocery stores are nicer than some of the places that I've been in America as far as grocery stores go. And I've lived in the Southeast. I've been to the Northeast. I'm now living on the West Coast. So I have a full grocery store around the country perspective about these things. So, just stop making points about things that just aren't there. In any respect, you should say, "Wow, she left America, she went to Africa, and she's learning things." And that is how you get rid of preconceived notions. And then she can come back, and anybody who ever says anything about Africa, she can correct them. And she can correct ignorant people who don't know what they're talking about. And that's kind of the beauty of going somewhere, getting out of the United States of America, and exploring the world. And I recommend that everybody does that at some point in their lives, because the minute that you step outside the United States of America, you'll have a whole different perspective about the world. And then you'll come back to the United States of America, and you'll be grateful for the life you have and some things you won't take for granted anymore. There are just so many amazing places in the world. There is one thing true about Africa. A lot of these people, their wages don't go as far as the American dollar. They have to get by on a lot less. And a lot of them have very close, tight-knit families because they all have to work together to survive and thrive. And no denying that. So those are some of the differences. But, we should not judge what we have never experienced. We should only make comments about what we have experienced based on our perspectives. And then you can fill in other people about what it's like. And, obviously, again, I always tell people, if you want to go to a country in Africa and you want to start out, I'd go to Kenya. I'd get off the plane in Nairobi. I'd go to the domestic terminal, and I'd take a plane to either Mombasa or Malindi, where you're on the coast and you can go enjoy the beaches and another experience of Kenya. And then you can go on a safari to Tsavo National Park, or, go some other places, the Goonie Animal Sanctuary in Mombasa, where you can be in front of the giraffes like I was, and you'll have the time of your life. So that's it for this one. But again, we should be congratulating and we should be commending Tiffany Haddish for going somewhere and opening her mind up to the world, because that's what every one of us needs to do, is keep an open mind about the world, not just have, "Oh, I know what it is," and that's it. That's not a way to live. I'm Chris Yannick for CY Interview. If you like this video, please subscribe, please like it, please comment. Love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one.